Hello and welcome to Sports News Africa, the home of Africa's sporting conversation. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Super Eagles need to turn their qualifiers campaign around if they're to get through. Sports activities are slowly making a comeback in Somalia after years of violence. And Burkina Faso cancels a cycling tour due to concerns over Ebola. Thank you for watching Sports News Africa. I'm Angela Agor. With more Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers coming up over the weekend, the newly elected president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, was on hand to see the Super Eagles train. The defending champions will be away to Sudan on Saturday, and Pinnick has vowed to reinforce all the necessary changes to Nigerian football. But for now, the team desperately need a win after managing only 1 point from their first 2 games.
After a disappointing 3-2 drubbing by lackluster Congo on their home turf and drawing 0-0 with South Africa in Cape Town, Africa Cup of Nations defending champions Nigeria Super Eagles have vowed to turn tables on their next opponents. The Eagles kicked off training on Monday afternoon in capital Abuja, confident of their crucial 2015 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sudan this weekend. Head coach Stephen Keshi said there will be no turning back in Sudan.
We can't go back to the past. We're looking forward. You know, we have to think about going forward, and that's all we are preparing ourselves for against Sudan in Sudan. And sometimes being third on the log doesn't matter. It just probably challenge you more, make you focus more, and they just be more determined.
The Super Eagles' fortunes have been dwindling since their victory in South Africa last year, to the disappointment of millions of fans at home. In June this year, they were bundled out of the World Cup in Brazil in the early stages of the tournament amid squabbles over money. Corruption and infighting within the country's football federation, which prompted several FIFA threats of banning Nigeria from international engagements, have also had a negative impact on the team. But big man Keshi is determined to put all these troubles behind as the team faces Sudan. Ogenyi Onazi is among the 17 players who are training at the Abuja National Stadium and believes the Eagles have formulated a winning strategy in Sudan.
It doesn't depend on us. We believe that God is going to see us through. We're just going to do our best because we're going to play as if everything depends on us and pray as if everything depends on God.
Nigeria is third in Group A with Congo leading, South Africa is second and Sudan last. The Eagles depart for Khartoum on Thursday for the clash on Saturday.
Somalia is a country that has long suffered from the effects of civil war and instability. But of late, and with the aid of continental partners, normality is slowly returning to the East African country. And as a result, Somalia is trying to encourage the country's youth to take up various sports activities, both on a domestic and international level. A new president was recently voted to head the country's football federation, and Somalia has sent out a team to the most recent African basketball championships.
The arrival of African Union forces to rout out the Al-Shabaab militants from their strongholds in Somalia in 2011 has since brought peace and normalcy in most parts of the country and enabled citizens to go about their daily lives. The Horn of Africa nation has been at war since 1992 after the ouster of President Said Barre. Later in 2006, the country fell under the control of Al-Shabaab militants who literally controlled every sector of society. Sport activities were banned and watching television carried with it a death penalty. But things are slowly changing with the arrival of the African Union forces, who have kicked the militants from major towns and giving a chance for the renovation of various sports facilities across the country. Mogadishu's main stadium today signifies a new lease of life for Somalia, with sportsmen now taking part in games such as football. First opened in 1956, the stadium was abandoned and even became a battleground for warlords during the many battles for the control of the city. But today, residents can enjoy and participate in football matches freely without fear of being attacked. Various football teams are already preparing for the start of an exciting nation-linked telecom championship season. Suleiman Ali, a midfielder at Banadir Football Club, said he is glad peace has returned in the country and vividly remembers the past.
During the civil war in the country, the marches were sometimes halted because of fighting.
The Somali Football Federation recently launched the Division B and C football leagues for the 2014-2015 season ahead of the country's premier cup known as the Super Cup, which kicks off before the end of the year. Fordahir Mao, coach of Mogadishu's Gascos Football Club, said war had destroyed sports in the country, but there was hope and the country has potential to raise quality sportsmen and women.
During the conflict, there were no more matches, no more clubs, and the condition was very, very bad. But now football is making a comeback day after day.
Currently, there are over 25 active football clubs in the country, and Mao said the number will increase as the country becomes more stable. Another coach, Mukhtar Abdul Qadir, who mentors youngsters of Mogadishu's Bandir Football Club, said during the conflict his team had to risk just to train because they loved football.
Our team has recently been training. Also, we used to train the team during the fighting in Mogadishu. And moreover, some of our team players were hit by stray bullets.
Recently, Somalia marked World Peace Day, where over 150 people participated in a 3-kilometer march in the southern port city of Kismayo, one of the areas that was under control of the militants but has since been liberated. The country's men's basketball team recently, for the first time since the breakout of war, participated in the FIBA Zone 5 basketball championships in Uganda. They were, however, kicked out in the early stages of the tournament.
Following David Kimeto's new world record at the Berlin Marathon 10 days ago, in which he bettered the old mark by 26 seconds, Kenya's athletics authorities say they are expecting a sub-2-hour record from one of their athletes at this weekend's Chicago Marathon. Incidentally, Kimeto set a new course of 2 hours, 3 minutes and 45 seconds at last year's event. Only 5 men in history have broken the 2-hour, 4-minute mark on record-eligible courses. Leading the field will be Ethiopia's Kenenisa Bekele and Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge. The two will rekindle their historic track rivalry, which started in the 5,000-metre race at the 2013 IAAF World Championships on the road, as both men chase the record books. In the women's race, 2013 champion Rita Jeptu will face Kenya's Florence Kiplagat, Jemima Samgong and relative newcomer Ethiopia's Burhan Dibaba. Coming up after the break on Sports News Africa. Burkina Faso calls off cycling tour due to concerns over Ebola. All that is still to come. See you after the break. Welcome back to Sports News Africa. The Confederation of African Football has confirmed that it has received bids from 7 countries which have expressed their readiness to host the African Cup of Nations finals in 2017. The 7 countries are Algeria, Egypt, Gabon, Ghana, Kenya, Sudan and Zimbabwe. Tanzania are said to have put in a bid, but they weren't included on the list as they have missed the deadline for the entry. Egypt hosted the finals on 4 occasions, 3 of which the home team went also to lift the cup. The original bid winners for the 2017 finals, Libya, was forced to withdraw from hosting the tournament due to security concerns. Kenya entered the race alone after it had originally planned to put in a joint bid alongside Uganda and Rwanda. The Confederation of African Football is yet to make a decision on which of the 7 will be announced as tournament hosts. And we'll stay with the Africa Cup of Nations, with preparations heating up for the women's game. The tournament, which gets underway in Namibia, is just days away now, and teams are putting in their final preparations together. Hosts Namibia are in Group A, along with Ivory Coast, Nigeria and Zambia. Group B is made up of Algeria, Cameroon, Ghana and South Africa. We can now speak to Jackie Gertzer from the Namibian Football Federation. Jackie, can you give us a sense of the level of excitement amongst Namibians about this tournament?
Yeah, you know, obviously the excitement starts with this being the biggest sports event ever that Namibia will be hosting. It's going to be hosting in a few days' time. That is creating excitement by itself. So everybody really wants to be part of that. The other thing is the fact that it's very colorful. There's a lot of local marketing going on. And people are really so much associated with every poster and picture and players' profiles that are in the streets, and that excitement is really uniting the Namibians. And then obviously the other factor of excitement that I could see is, for instance, the fact that the government for the first time is very, very much part of such a big sports event. And you can see the support from the minister, the prime minister, head of states, and that really is unite the people. And also the other excitement that I can see among the Namibians, that really you can see everybody is moving towards filling the stadium for the opening ceremony, is the fact that women football, with the support of FIFA, for the past 5-6 years, has been the fastest developed sport in the country. So obviously there's that thing of, let's see now at the competitive and excellence level what our girls can do, and obviously the fact that people also want to reach the best teams in Africa as well.
Why is Namibia hosting this event? What do you intend to gain out of it?
Yeah, obviously, one of the main reasons why, in the first place, bid to host this tournament is number one, because we realized that we have really developed very well our women football, and we have the capacity. That's what we believed in, and we would like to showcase to FIFA, to CAF, which is our mother bodies in football, that the development, the investment that especially FIFA has done in women's football. Here it is. We are capable to host such a big event, and maybe for the future it creates that opportunity for us to host even bigger sports events continentally, as well as globally, which can help us as a small nation. We are a very small nation of just over 2 million people. That would help us to also further develop our strong infrastructure, which is really already strong, as well as to boost the economy of the country, but generally also to unite the people, because sports here is in most cases regarded as a uniting tool.
With 3 days to go, how ready are you, the organisers, to make sure of a good tournament?
If you say 3 days to go, it already shows you we must be ready, because as we speak, already 5 of the countries are here in Windhoek, including Namibia. We are expecting today our secretariat from CAF, which is the official host, not official host, but the organizers of the tournament. The stadiums, as we speak, we will be counting until minus 1 day before the kick-off that they will hand over. Basically, 80% of the two stadia renovations has been completed. And obviously, the nice thing about that for us as organizers is the fact that there was not much to really add to what was already there for the two stadia. Accommodation is perfect in Namibia. One of those cities in the world where you can really just come the next day, and there's so much for you to receive. Therefore, our main focus was more the two main stadiums that needed smaller additions to it. But because of many logistics, we will have to unfortunately wait to minus 1 day beforehand.
Jackie, thank you for speaking to Sports News Africa. Moving on to cycling now, and Burkina Faso cycling tour was recently cancelled due to fears of the Ebola virus. The country's sports ministry said it was a matter of urgency to cancel the race to protect the citizens and participants. The race, which was scheduled for later this month, usually attracts participants from across the world.
Participants of the annual Burkina Faso bike race, Tour de Faso, have been disappointed after this year's event was recently cancelled due to fears of the deadly Ebola virus outbreak. The 1,300-kilometer grueling race, usually held over a 10-day period, was scheduled to take place from the 24th of October till the 2nd of November. This is the first time the race has been cancelled since it began 27 years ago. Burkina Faso's sports minister said it was inevitable that the event would be cancelled to protect its citizens and participants.
As you know,
the Ebola epidemic has been raging in the sub-region for quite some time now, and the Burkina Faso government has taken prevention measures. That is why this tour has been cancelled. A plan B has been proposed. That would be to organize the tour with only locals competing. But I want to say that the Tour de Faso is the Tour de Faso. I mean, it is not a race for locals only. It is a race which must gather European and African teams. So we will not organize a dwindling tour.
The race is supported by a Muri sports organization which also operates the famed Tour de France. The sports minister admitted that an urgent decision had to be made without consulting the event operators.
You know, Burkina Faso is a sovereign country, and I think we don't have to wait for an opinion from the International Cycling Union to make our decision. After all, we have a real case here, and we made this decision in full awareness.
Et je pense que nous avons pris cette décision en toute âme et conscience.
The Tour de Faso's promoter was not pleased with the government's decision, but said no penalties will be issued to Burkina Faso, nor will the country lose its credibility.
Public health is of paramount importance, but I think that next year the tour will take place as planned. The race will be built the same way. The ICU agrees with that. There won't be any penalty. I think it was crucial that we cancelled the tour. But now you know that Burkina Faso is not quarantined, so there will still be competitions. There will be the Grand Prix of the Impossible, to be held on November 7 and 8, with Burkina Faso races only. In order to cover the required distance, the start line of the Grand Prix will be set on Niger's border.
Burkina Faso has had no reported cases of the Ebola virus, which has so far claimed many lives in 4 West African countries of Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone and Nigeria.
Welcome back to Sports News Africa. Andy Murray has been in action in the first round of the Shanghai Masters. He came up against Temiraz Gabashvili and managed to get through in straight sets with a 6-1, 7-5 win. In other games, Argentina player Leonardo Mayer also won in straight sets. Following on from our coverage of LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in pre-season action yesterday, we now catch up with more NBA teams in pre-season preparation. This time we have the LA Lakers with new addition Jeremy Lin joining the squad, which still includes veteran 40-year-old South African-born Steve Nash. We also have some pre-season opinions from the champion Spurs. And that's the end of Sports News Africa for today. Join us again tomorrow when we bring you all the latest from Africa and around the world. Bye for now.